Part 86. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 856. Whether it's a human being or an NPC in the plot, as long as you have a weakness and you want to take advantage of it, it shouldn't be a big problem. Tao Ran took a few steps back towards the swarm to show his attitude. Like you, I don't want to fight. But that doesn't mean I can't fight you. After catching the completely different attention on him in the beehive, Tao Ran took a deep breath, turned around, and locked onto a tree that was similar in height, thickness, and species to the beehive opposite. Then, I saw her rushing out without any warning. The speed and sensitivity are comparable to those of cats. A black shadow passed by, and the next second she was already on the tree. His ability to climb trees is even better than that of a squirrel. She integrated the black cat skills and light kung fu essentials, and in a blink of an eye, she had climbed nearly 10 meters high. Seeing that her position was almost the same as the hive opposite, she stopped going up. She took out her dagger and wielded a set of dazzling knife skills directly on the nearly 1 meter thick branch. For a time, the leaves, branches, and tree flowers flew. It was like rain. She only waved for a minute, and the ground was already densely covered with. The swarm buzzed, and Quiet Touch retreated a few centimeters. The other 7 players also faced her skills for the first time, and for a while, they had various tastes. When the originally leafy branch finally became bare, Tao Ran jumped down from the tree. Yes, jump. More than 10 meters high, he was so nimble and used the branches below as stepping points to jump down one by one. What exactly do you want? Queen Bee actually understood her intention. By showing off her skills on the same type of tree and at the same height, she was simply telling them that she was capable of destroying the home they were protecting to pieces. To be honest, their speed and impact might not be as good as hers. If they really want to fight, they are not sure they can protect the hive. How could they not be afraid? I don't want to harm your home at all. I just want a little honey. Tao Ran tried his best to express his kindness and showed 2 rows of big white teeth. Just give me some honey. Then we don't have to fight. Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you to your whole family, Tao Ran bowed with his teammates. Anyway, Stupid Bear only said that he wanted to drink honey water, but didn't say how much honey he should put in it. If you do it for it, it won't be able to regret it, right? A minute later, the leaf bag containing a piece of aged solid fragrant honey was thrown under the tree. Tao Ran thanked the swarm and led everyone back to the big bear 400 meters away. As expected, the big bear was still sitting under the tree waiting for them. I thought you would run away, and I was planning to catch you crooks and come back to make meat pies. This sentence made everyone breathe a sigh of relief. It's a shame that I didn't run away. Judging from this tone, this bear is not stupid at all. Tao Ran put the honey into a bottle of water in front of the big bear, shook it well and gave it to the bear. The bear drank it all in one gulp. Several people originally thought that it would be too little and dissatisfied, but this bear was better than they imagined. It tastes good. Thank you. Since you keep your word and meet my requirements, I won't embarrass you. Tao Ran was not polite and asked directly for directions. The bear sitting on the ground changed his posture. I, Xiong, am an honest man. Since I have received your favor, I will send Buddha to the west. Come on, climb up. It exposed its back. I'll give you a lift and take you out of the forest. Everyone was stunned and looked at each other, somewhat at a loss. Tao Ran was overjoyed. This should save a lot of time and trouble, right? Thank you, Brother Bear. She was the first to get on the bear. Then he motioned for others to come up. Everyone was surprised by her boldness. They didn't know that she had even ridden a dragon, but it was just a bear. She didn't find it strange at all. Everyone was cautious and carefully helped each other onto the bear's back. Brother Xiong, if you can, Please hurry up. Taoran also helped the big bear to groom himself. Big Bear was very helpful and agreed wholeheartedly. Sit tight and hold on tight, let's go. Then, there was a whoosh, causing 8 people to scream together. No one expected that this seemingly clumsy bear could run quite fast on all fours. With the wind in its ears, it ran past the swarm of bees in a blink of an eye, and then past the area where 2 white tigers were fighting. It even led them across a river and avoided the piranhas in the river. Finally, they came out of the forest. Well, I can only go as far as here. The bear put them down. Ahead, the scenery has completely changed. There is a chain bridge. It is already vaguely visible. Not far after crossing the bridge is the palace. Finally there is hope. Look at the time, there are still 40 minutes left in the countdown. They thanked Big Bear. The Big Bear left, and they walked quickly towards the chain bridge on the edge of the cliff ahead. Do you feel that the levels in this level are a bit too long, too many, and too difficult? One level after another, Endless Joe Chang asked. In fact, everyone feels this way. Every NPC they encounter has a fairly difficult level set up. If you are not careful, you will face elimination. Not to mention that along the way, there are scattered tests on various plants and small animals, as well as natural disasters such as fog and storms. In addition, the time is tight and everyone is anxious, which makes it more difficult. Undoubtedly, this level is a bit too difficult. They have no doubt that this level will eliminate a large number of players. I hope that after this level is over, the rewards will be worthy of our hard work. The tiger made the wrong mistake. Taoran, who was the first to go, looked at the note on the stone tablet in front of the iron lock and couldn't help but sigh. It's not over yet. To put it bluntly, the entire test of this level is teamwork. Now, they were standing on a cliff, with no bottom at all. They had to cross the chain bridge in front of them. However, this bridge, is not easy to pass. First of all, this bridge is going up, so every step is bound to not be easy. Secondly, the distance between each level is not close. It is impossible to cross 3 or 5 levels in one go. The problem lies in the stairs. The bridge has 33 steps in total. But 16 of them are hollow and will collapse if you step on them. If they wanted to cross the bridge, they had to try to avoid the hollow steps. The only way they can judge the truth is that everyone has a chance to get a hint. Therefore, the 8 of them can judge up to 8 false steps. With the remaining 8 pieces of fake money, it all depends on luck or personal ability to cross the bridge. The benefits of team size come out. If there are 12 of them, then as long as they find a way to get past the 4 false stairs, the difficulty will drop sharply. On the other hand, if there are only 2 or 3 of them left now, there is almost no need to play. The bridge will definitely not be able to be crossed. At this moment, everyone was overjoyed again. It's a great blessing that their team is still intact. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 857. That's why Taoran said that the entire game at this level is a test of teamwork. From starting with 12 random chairs to explicitly asking them to choose the captain, they are actually reminded that this is a team game. How can there be cohesion among 12 strangers with different thoughts? So how to suppress their respective desires, suspicions, and thoughts depends on their abilities. From the initial voting, to the disagreements in the team, to the subsequent NPC requests for one person to stay at each level, it was actually inducing them to fall apart. The consequence of pursuing victory blindly and abandoning your teammates is the bridge in front of you. Alone, there is no chance of winning. It is very difficult for them, 8 of them, to walk up the 33 UN ladder of authenticity. Not only physical help, but also everyone must have trust in their companions. Taoran was glad that she didn't meet any idiot who couldn't turn around. They could definitely get through. Tiger said, "Don't worry, they can move forward hanging on the chain." But when they got closer, they immediately understood that this couldn't be done. All the iron chains used to support each step on this bridge are very thin. To be precise, they cannot be called iron chains, but more like thin iron wires. It's so thick that it's impossible to stand on it or catch it. Zhou Chang took a thick, tough leaf and tried it, but was cut in two by the wire. If you grab it with your hands, you can definitely cut it to the bone in one stroke. Among the 8 people, only Tao Ran had 2 pairs of gloves. Therefore, at most 2 of them can grasp the wire. The other pair of gloves was given to George by Tao Ran. There is no special reason. He is very strong. At critical moments, if someone slips, he can help. When necessary, if you can rely on the strength or balance of the wire, it may play a key role. There are many restrictions on the ladder. The first one is that each level can only accommodate 2 people standing at the same time. If a third person reaches the top, the ladder will break immediately. So this also has certain requirements on the order in which they cross the bridge. The strong and the weak are necessary. It is also necessary to be highly focused and try not to make mistakes. Tao Ran did her job and said she would take the lead. Moreover, she planned not to use the opportunity first, but to rely on her ability to explore. The first and second levels were not far apart. With her black cat skills, it would not be a big problem to return to the starting point immediately when she found something was wrong. The best case scenario is that both levels are hollow, so they can immediately eliminate 1/8 more wrong answers. Without saying a word, she jumped up and reached the first level. She was ready to run back, but this level was real. Not moving at all, steady. She looked at the people behind her. The gravity on the stairs is different. Your steps will feel heavier. You must not take it lightly. Tao Ran jumped up to the second level again. The stairs trembled twice, and she was about to go back, but the stairs froze again. It turns out that this level is also real. So the first 2 levels are no problem. Ha! Is this the worst possible scenario? What can be said? This damn game had clearly guessed what they were thinking. Tao Ran tried the third level again. When her feet suddenly softened, she relied solely on her waist to grab the second step. Not daring to move forward easily, Tao Ran returned to the starting point and asked everyone to go up to the first and second steps to feel the gravity that was different from usual. Then everyone asked the system for specific virtual and actual prompts except for the first, second, and third levels. They learned that the 8 stairs, 5th, 7th, 8th, 16th, 24th, 26th, 30th and 32nd, were hollow. Very bad. The most difficult part of the information in the middle is basically not told to them. What can be done? Seize the time and bite the bullet. The curtains that everyone had brought with them before were used again. The 3 curtains were connected with a knot, one end was tied to Tao Ran, and the other was tied to the eagle. The 2 brothers with sensitivity bonus went up first and began to explore the path for the team. How many levels can you explore? Don't show off for now. If you can't pass, come back first, Zhou Chang and the others warned. The first few steps were already clear and the 2 of them walked naturally and smoothly. By the 10th to 15th level, they have no information at all. The eagle lay on the 9th step, hugged the 9th step tightly, and leaned forward from Tao Ran. On the 10th step, Tao Ran jumped up and remained motionless. She jumped to the 11th step again, but as soon as she took off, she felt the moment when her toes exerted force, and her feet fell into the air and broke. Talent. Just stop now. Damn it, on purpose. So the 10th level is also empty. She had already jumped out, and she was afraid that her attempt to return would fail due to gravity, so she simply continued forward. She could only pray that the 11th level would be real. But her wish hadn't been fulfilled yet. Her toes had just touched the 11th step. She didn't even exert any effort, and her feet were empty again. 2 consecutive levels are empty. Almost subconsciously, she used her gloves to grab the wire and steady herself on the bridge. How seemingly endless rain. At this time a hurricane blew. The entire central part of the bridge began to shake violently. Not to mention that Taoran couldn't steady himself and almost flew away like a kite with a broken string. Even the 9th level eagle was almost thrown away with him. I can't leave anymore, go back first. With the help of George Zhou Chang and others and the pull of eagle, Taoran finally returned to the starting point. The 8 people spent 5 minutes getting ready again. Then, start again. This time, George was involved. All the remaining curtain fabrics they had were tied up. George will serve as a node, following the eagle closely to prevent the two from falling, so he and the eagle are also connected. Zhou Chang and the others went to the forest to cut down some thick elder vines, and tied one end to George, while the other end was held by the tiger Zhou Chang on the edge of the cliff. In this way, one link after another is equivalent to forming 3 insurances, so that Taoran, who is walking in the front, can move forward boldly with confidence. The remaining 3 people were not idle either. Xiaoan stood on the second step, holding Taoran's telescope, sensing with deep thought, and told Taoran her premonition. Ma Xiaoyuan is responsible for recording the virtual and actual levels of each level, while Huang Mao is responsible for calculating the number of remaining hollows and their possible arrangements. The middle part of the bridge is really difficult. When the wind blows, it's almost like swinging on a swing. The most serious one was when Taoran slipped and the eagle fell down. Taoran was also taken away by him. Fortunately, George was strong enough to hold the iron lock with one hand and pull the person with the other, thus resolving the crisis. Fortunately, in the middle, the most difficult part, the system did not get stuck to the bottom. It was almost always one virtual and one real, which allowed Taoran and the others to quickly pass the 20th level. The people behind did not hold back and started to follow. George went back to respond, and then one by one. This time the protectors were Taoran and Yingying. Because the reality of each step was already clear, everyone quickly reached the middle section of the bridge. The pathfinding duo continued to move forward. Taoran's strength was at the bottom, so Eagle took over her gloves and let him explore the last few steps. Although there were 2 more dangerous slips, we finally reached the other side successfully. After that it's easy. Taoran and Yingying pulled the old vine and found a big tree to circle around, so that the people behind could move around confidently, and they also helped to catch up. The group of people finally successfully completed this difficult level. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 858. Ahead, there was another fog. It's not far away from the royal palace, where the spire can be seen vaguely. Now, there are still 20 minutes left in the countdown. Everyone trotted forward. This is a high dirt slope, all the way up. Their intuition told them that by passing through the foggy slopes, this level should be completed. However, the fog passed through. But ahead. Well. Ahead, they saw the king leading his troops to fight with a group of red knights. They were very happy when they saw the king. Finally, it's the human NPCs. The 17th level is over, and they have entered a new scene on the 18th level. But they checked the system repeatedly and there was no message, so it wasn't over yet. Seeing the fierce fighting between the two sides, several people were a little stunned. Looking at their respective displays, there were no prompts or requirements for them to do anything. What are you doing standing still? Help, Taoran ran at the front. Brothers, follow the plot. As the king's loyal subjects, we will naturally help the king to do whatever he wants without any conditions. The king caught a spy. If he wanted not to be recognized as a spy, he had to work hard to prove himself. So, without any hesitation, Tao Ran picked up a sword from the corpse on the ground and rushed into the crowd blocking the way. Her movements were cheerful, but in her heart she was hesitant about what to do next. Time is running out. Does she want to kill everyone here? If she has good abilities, can she improve the king's favor? Will it be inconsistent with her previous personality? Before she could think about it, the king had already made the decision for her immediately. The king actually recognized her voice, and then locked his eyes on the disgraced her. So the king actually said, "Hurry! Protect Princess Ran Ran." When the king shouted like this, Tao Ran could only continue her previous noble persona, screaming in fear while insisting on waving her sword. The 7 people behind her also followed her. Seeing that she was suddenly different from the other person, they felt ridiculous and speechless. When he heard that the king was going to send troops to protect his captain, he followed her closely to get some glory. Zhou Chang's mind was spinning the fastest. "Don't be afraid, Princess Ran. I'll protect you and I won't let you get hurt." As he said that, he opened up the sword of a knight in red and blocked Tao Ran. Tao Ran raised his eyebrows. This guy is very enlightened. In front of the king, this is stealing his own role. If he protects himself, a reward is indispensable. The tiger and the eagle also reacted. "Tiger, I'm here, come to me if you have the ability. Don't touch women. Eagle, if you want to hurt Princess Ran Ran, you must pass our level first." Everyone came up with a tacit understanding and automatically formed a half circle, protecting Tao Ran, Xiaoan and Ma Xiaoyuan behind them. Tao Ran whispered to them to perform well, and a few of them understood and used their already bottomed out physical strength almost to the extreme. Even Ma Xiaoyuan pretended to imitate Tao Ran, found a dying red knight as his opponent, and had a lively fight. From the corner of his eye, he saw the king's guard captain was about to arrive, and Tao Ran gave him a force just in time. She accidentally became the target of a knight in red riding on horseback. When resisting, she was accidentally kicked by the horse and then rolled 1080 degrees in the air. After hitting the ground hard, she still insisted on rolling 720 degrees. The movements are naturally done in one go, and there is no trace of fraud. She fell so hard that she naturally fell to the ground, looking pitiful. Xiaoan and Ma Xiaoyuan were both frightened by her. Regardless of their safety, they squatted down to check on her condition. Although Zhou Chang and the others were not sure whether she was real or fake, they immediately protected her. Tao Ran wanted to blink and tell her teammates not to worry, but then she thought about it. In order to pursue the dramatic effect of the extras and supporting roles, she had better act to the end. So even though Xiaoan's tears were falling on her face, she still looked like she was dying and half dead with serious injuries. I heard the king shouting anxiously, "Captain of the guard, escort Princess Ran Ran to evacuate immediately. Quick! Quick! We still don't know when this level will end. How can Tao Ran dare to faint? The most she can do is be out of energy in order to evacuate quickly, get off the battlefield quickly, and end this level quickly." She was placed on the back of the captain of the guard. She thought she could be lazy, but she regretted it as soon as the captain of the guard started running. The captain of the guard's thick metal armor made her almost jump off his back. She suffered too many injuries along the way. She slipped several times when crossing the bridge. At that time, her ribs and abdomen hit the steps and were injured to varying degrees. Now, she is just asking for trouble, and she is about to cry without tears. The captain of the guard only ran for more than 100 meters. Tao Ran thought he could finally be liberated, but unexpectedly, he was hung up on the horse again, but he just changed the subject and continued to jolt. Almost 300 meters away, she felt the pain of running 30,000 meters. By the time she arrived in front of the king, her back was soaked with cold sweat, her whole body looked like she had been fished out of water, and she was still shivering. To be honest, the king was shocked when he saw her. Is this actually the queen's favorite princess Ran Ran? This girl has become like this? How much hardship did you endure? At a glance, almost no inch of the original skin color can be seen. From head to toe, there are either blood or dirt. Blood was still coming out from many places on his body, and he looked extremely embarrassed. The king had guilt written all over his face. It was his will to let all the foreign guests, including Princess Ran Ran, take part in the test, and it was indeed too much to let a noble princess also participate. Seeing the princess being forced to die, he felt extremely guilty, and felt unable to explain to the queen. I'm sorry my child. The king did not dislike Tao Ran, who was now dirty, smelly, and injured at all, and hugged her personally. You have suffered. You are worthy of being a noble princess from the Great East. You are the first to pass the test. I'm sorry, my test is indeed too difficult for a princess. Today I got carried away by the spies. So please forgive me for being reckless. Please also go back and have a good rest. My reward will be delivered on time later. Tao Ran was immersed in the sudden pleasant sound of the system. He opened his eyes slightly and saw the king waving his sleeves. There seemed to be a transparent barrier with water ripples in front of him when the fog dissipated. On the other side of the barrier, standing were the queen, the prince, the king's wizard, and a large number of ministers, guests, and servants who were looking at this side. My dear child, can you still leave? The king personally helped Tao Ran up. The queen is waiting for you in front. After these few steps, it will be over. Tao Ran was overjoyed. It's over. It is finally over. It's just a few steps, she has to crawl over it, right? Thank you so much for the tip from my sweetheart, I love you. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 859. While the king helped Tao Ran, he also told her that she had to walk out of the illusion in the last few steps by herself, so he told her to hold on. After she faintly responded okay, the king let go of his hand. Tao Ran's acting skills are already perfect. Opposite, a large group of people. It seemed that most of the people in the palace were here. With hundreds of pairs of eyes looking at her like this, she couldn't let go even to death. Especially when looking at the queen's red eyes. So, after turning around, she slowly stood up straight, straightened her chest, raised her head, raised her chin, her eyes were firm, and she walked forward step by step. She walked very slowly, clearly shaky and unable to move, but she relied on her will to hold on. The broken feeling that she might fall at any time made it difficult for everyone on the opposite side to remain unmoved. Many female relatives covered their mouths and clenched their fists. The queen naturally took 2 steps forward. The girl who came over looked sloppy, but so what? The whole aura and momentum of the person cannot be deceived. Those eyes are bright and penetrating, directly touching people's hearts. Such self-bringing brilliance is noble and incomparable to ordinary people. But how difficult must it be to maintain this calmness and elegance? Everyone could see that she was walking very hard, and everyone could see that her tattered skirt was shaking frequently because of her shaking legs. Blood was still bleeding from many places on her body, there were streaks of sweat rolling down her face, all of which it was proof of pain, but in full view of the public, she maintained her pride and dignity as a princess of a country, representing the face of a country. Regardless of anything else, just this persistence is enough for them to admire. Therefore, the queen had opened her arms to welcome her. The prince, who had always been indifferent, frowned and took 2 steps forward and turned his head to scold the wizard. Some of the female guests smiled to show their kindness, some lifted their skirts and saluted, and some gave her she applauded. Even the wizard put his hands on his chest and bowed to her. Tao Ran finally gave up the idea of falling down and climbing out of the barrier after a lot of ideological struggle. She suddenly felt that all the NPCs were silly, innocent, and cute, and she was the only one playing here while everyone was drunk and I was alone, and it suddenly became boring. Forget it, it's more suitable for you to walk to the end with your neck held high. So Taoran restrained himself. She took one step at a time, dragging her legs that were like lead. As she walked across the transparent barrier, she suddenly felt light. After the system beeped several times in succession, she fell heavily. It's half true and half false. This damn level is finally over. She was really exhausted and almost collapsed. She really wanted to lie down and relax for a while. The queen and others gathered around and helped her in time. It's just that magical. Within a few seconds, Taoran's body, which was really weak, painful, and miserable, suddenly seemed to be in a state of increasing blood flow, and then quickly rejuvenated. As the toad said, injuries don't need to be cured. As long as you can get out of the illusion, everything will recover naturally. Her strength returned. Her wounds disappeared. Her pain was gone too. The mud, poison, and blood she had stained in the illusion all disappeared in an instant. Of course, the mental fatigue continues. Her slovenliness is still there. Her hair was messy, her makeup had long been worn out, her clothes were in tatters, and her shoes had been broken. It didn't matter, these were all evidences of her suffering. The queen's good feelings were finally full. Like the king, she did not dislike her. She came up to hug her and murmured an apology. "I'm sorry, my child, you have suffered. You have worked hard. Everything is fine. You have withstood the most difficult test, and you are the best princess in the world. My dear. Are you okay? Is there anything else that is not right? Comfortable?" While talking, the queen thoughtfully took a blanket and put it on Taoran. "I'm sorry, Your Highness," Taoran said, "you provided me with my clothes and shoes, but they were all damaged by me. I can't compensate for the time being." Her sad expression earned her another hug from the queen. What a good boy, at this time, he is still thinking about these things. How can a child with such thoughts not make people feel sorry for him? It's okay, it's okay. Fortunately. Taoran took out a cloth bag from his waistband. "Fortunately I saved these. I don't know if they were damaged." The queen took a look and saw that it was full of jewelry originally worn by Ran Ran. "What's on your head, what's on your neck, what's on your hands are all here. Layer after layer, they are wrapped in napkins, with warm body temperature on them." Several pieces of jewelry were indeed damaged. For example, the red gold necklace was broken. Several pearls on the hairpins also fell off. But what does it matter? Does it matter? What made the queen feel distressed was how much pain the strong girl had to endure to cause the multi-layered jewelry to be damaged. "I'm sorry, I broke them," Taoran said sadly. "It must have been in the toad cave, when I was kicked off the rock wall by a giant toad. I'm sorry." "Oh." The queen hugged Taoran tightly again. "It must hurt, right? My dear, what are these things compared to your safety? It doesn't matter. This is a trivial matter." The prince couldn't help but ask, "You wrapped up the jewelry early in the morning, the illusion was very dangerous and difficult." But Ran Ran's whole body was in tatters, and it was incredible that he could preserve them so well. She must have put a lot of thought into it. In fact, just because she is a princess, and because she is the savior of herself and her mother, she can completely ignore such trivial matters, but she is so thoughtful and delicate. Taoran nodded. "Yes, Your Highness. As soon as I entered the illusion, I put these away and tied them in my waistband. I remembered that these things belong to Her Royal Highness the Queen. These are lent to me and do not belong to me. These jewels are valuable, I am in charge of them, and naturally I am fully responsible for them. More importantly, these are the trust and affection that Her Royal Highness the Queen has shown to me, and I cannot waste or betray this affection." The words made the queen's heart melt. She said, "Oh again, my dear, you are really great." For a moment, everyone was praising Princess Ran Ran. Many people have heard about Princess Ran Ran's deeds of saving the prince and queen, as well as the various Eastern legends that have been added to the story and their love for Princess Ran Ran. They are all very curious about this person. Now that I have seen with my own eyes that although the appearance is a mess, the whole person is shining from the inside out. Who can't praise her a little? The prince also came up and hugged Chao Ran, and praised, "You are truly the most beautiful, sensible, considerate, smartest, strongest, bravest, and perfect princess I have ever seen. You have worked hard. Thank you for being there for me. Everything we do as a royal family." Chao Ran raised his eyebrows. "Wow, even 7 most." She could hardly believe that these were the words coming from the mouth of this prince who had always been indifferent, and even if he saved him, he would only say thank you. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 860. Chao Ran was naturally quite happy to be praised so openly. Especially when these words come from the indifferent prince, this is an affirmation of her acting skills. As an actress, she is very satisfied. Especially an actress like her who can't go on stage. She is said to be the most beautiful. How nice! Without the blessing of skin, she performed the inner beauty of the character. Chao Ran was feeling happy when he heard several tinkling sounds. System sound. So suddenly. Is it a reward sound? From a prince? Her heart skipped a beat as she thought of a scene Huang Mao had told her about tomorrow. It's over, the prince won't fall in love with me, right? She can't stay and be the princess. Chao Ran felt a little panicked, but now she didn't have the nerve to open her screen, so she could only smile. Chao Ran discovered again that at some point, the queen was smiling brightly. "John, Princess Ran Ran has worked hard, please send her back." The queen took Chao Ran's hand and patted it. "You are the prince's benefactor, so you should let him work for you. This is what every gentleman should do." Chao Ran nodded. She was about to quit and run away to look at the system screen. She was anxious to take a shower and change clothes, and to lie down and rest. Chao Ran's hand was handed over to the prince. The prince did not refuse, he bowed his head politely, held Chao Ran's hand and said please. Chao Ran bowed and left. The queen then asked her female officials to follow up, so that she could meet all the needs of Princess Ran Ran to the greatest extent, and let the prince take good care of Princess Ran Ran. After walking a few steps, Chao Ran felt a little hot on the back of his head. When he turned around, he saw the queen looking at her and the prince with an honest smile on her face, and the ladies surrounding the queen also had the same expression. When she released her spiritual power, she heard words such as a talented man and a beautiful woman. It's over, tomorrow will probably be another busy day. She had to do something, so as not to affect the superior's good opinion of her, but also to dispel the intention of bringing her and the prince together. Chao Ran also saw her teammates who stared at her. Like George Tiger, who was dumbfounded, like Zhou Chang, who raised the corner of his eagle's mouth with a meaningful expression, like Xiaoan Xiaoyuan, who waved cheerfully to her goodbye, and even like Huang Mao, who couldn't help but hug her after seeing the warning he had given her tomorrow. Stomach laughing. I don't want to care about them anymore. Chao Ran mouthed see you tomorrow and left. Although we didn't have time to say goodbye, since everyone has completed this level, they will all attend the prince's ball tomorrow and we can still meet each other. The king was very satisfied with the team of 8 people who entered the fantasy world and were still 8 people when they came out. There was not a single one missing among the 8 people, which meant that they were united throughout the whole process. If strangers can trust each other when getting along, and there is no betrayal, then they are definitely not spies. So the king personally praised them and asked the guards to register one by one, saying that they would be rewarded later. The 7 people were quite happy, but they didn't know that the king meant to say a few more words to them, making Taoran the first person to come out of the barrier. He had given an order before, and the first one to come out would be rewarded the biggest. Since we are our own people, of course the wealth will not flow to outsiders. The 7 people here said goodbye and went to different places. Over there, Taoran was still walking silently with the prince. Taoran deliberately kept quiet. She wanted to let the prince know that she was not a lovable person. She was boring and dull, very boring, old-fashioned, and rigid, like a piece of wood without cleverness and without any interest. Along the way, the prince took the initiative to speak 3 times. For example, "Are you still feeling uncomfortable?" Taoran replied, "I have a headache." For example, "I will ask the doctor to take a look at you later." Taoran replied, "I'm just tired and need to rest. It'll be fine tomorrow." For example, "Is there anything I can do for you?" Taoran replied, "Not yet." After doing this 3 times, the prince received concise and boring answers, and as expected, he didn't speak again. So when the 2 of them walked up, they could almost only hear their footsteps and breathing. If it weren't for the female officer following behind, the embarrassment would have been even greater. Of course, when Taoran looked at the prince once, he deliberately kept his gaze fixed for a second. She wanted to look into his eyes. Afterwards, she was quite happy. She didn't see the admiration. There was no emotion in the prince's eyes. Anyway, if there is love, she can tell it. But no. Very good. Quite good. Soon, we arrived at the floor where she lived. Taoran kept looking at him. The mark on the stairs is 18. 18 floors. Walking inside, her room has not changed, it is still the familiar space. The contents inside have not changed, and some of her luggage is also inside. She bid farewell to the prince with proper etiquette. But, when Taoran looked up, he found that the faint smile on the prince's face had become much brighter at this moment. What the hell? He actually said that he would wait for her to have morning tea with her tomorrow and kissed her hand. Taoran didn't know. Really unclear. Is it possible that someone with such a boring personality could still arouse a good impression? A minute later, when the female officer was helping her prepare a change of clothes, she suddenly understood the reason for the prince's attitude from the female officer's mouth. This made her regretful. The female official said that the reason why their prince was cold-tempered was not nature but acquired. Because of his status, the girls around him are so enthusiastic. But he just doesn't like being sought after. The reason why he has never taken a wife is because the prince has a high vision, and there has never been a girl who would make the prince nod. Only then will a dance be used to let the prince come and see it himself. And their prince actually has his own set of standards. Princess Ran Ran should have become their candidate for princess. Taoran scratched his head. As the queen's confidant, female officials generally don't talk much. If she talks so much to herself, is it most likely that the queen signaled her to let it slip? So, both the prince and the queen are interested in themselves. Oh my god, it's so scary. Taoran plunged into the sealed bathroom. Indeed, Taoran got it right. The prince hates the kind of girls who throw themselves into their arms. He has experienced too much since he was a child. He was willing to send Ran Ran back alone because he also wanted to see what this seemingly perfect girl looked like when they got along in private. As a result, she knew the rules and obeyed the rules. From her eyes to her movements to her expression, she was no different from before. It shows that she is consistent on the outside, which is such a valuable quality. He gave her such a good opportunity and even took the initiative to talk to her, but she still paid attention to her boundaries. She didn't show any joy, nor did she try to please or make trouble, nor did she have any restraint, fear, nervousness, or panic, just not even the hand held by him trembled. Only a truly noble princess, from a well-known family, well-educated, and well-informed can be so calm and perfect, and fit in well with him. So the prince felt happy at this moment. The queen mother said that she would ask him something later, and he thought he could nod. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 861. Tao Ran quickly forgot about the prince. She rinsed herself several times before she felt that the lingering odor on her body had been washed away. She changed into comfortable pajamas, quickly lay down on the bed, and then clicked on her screen panel. A lot of system messages. She clicked them in order. Congratulations to the player for receiving the King's Embrace. Your luck value will increase by 3%. This is not bad. Now, my total luck value has turned a profit, which is more than 10 times higher than the initial value, right? Congratulations to the player for completing the 17th level challenge after all the difficulties. The system rewards you with 500 points. So hard work, only 500? Just enough to buy some clothes. Thinking of this, she remembered that she had to settle some accounts with her dear teammates tomorrow. I'm afraid we'll have to divide things after tomorrow, so we can't forget this. Below this one, there is another tip. Tao Ran clicked it and looked at it. It contained the calculations for this level. After the player voted for this level, he went through the 7 levels of Snake, Mosquito, Toad, Bear, Bee, Bridge, and King. It is gratifying to congratulate him. After gaining the 20th level, he will go straight to the 7th level. Daoran sat up straight. Let's just say, why is this level so difficult? It's not over yet, it turns out you can skip floors. The more NPCs and tests you experience, the more levels you can go up. They can go straight to the 7th floor, so their results should be pretty good, right? Congratulations to the player for reaching the finish line 11 minutes ahead of the stipulated time. You will receive 10 times the points, which is a reward of 110 points. Congratulations on becoming the first player to complete the first 20 levels of the most difficult level, and receive an encouragement package from the system. After opening the gift package and looking at it, it's hard not to be disappointed. There is only a commemorative badge, 300 points and a set of protective gear. Tisk. So stingy. Congratulations to the player for getting the prince's hug. Her luck value has increased by 3% after this upgrade, her total luck value should have increased by about 20%. Congratulations to the player for gaining a total favorability value of more than 1000 in this level and receiving a cute gift package. Tao Ran didn't forget the first kill gift package last time. When he opened it, he found a bunch of speakers, a basic dagger, and an assassin uniform. Naturally, she didn't have high hopes for this big gift package. After clicking it and taking a look, it turned out that it was right not to have any hope. 5 more speakers. Ha, there are already dozens of speakers in her system backpack. Congratulations to the player for gaining more than 100 people's favor in this level and winning the Everyone Loves gift package. The 100 people are the guest guards and servants outside the fantasy world who were infected by her acting skills, right? He opened the gift package with an expressionless face, and, well, there were 10 more speakers. However, there is an extra mask. The texture looks good. Tao Ran took it out and put it on. Fine. The mask can be worn tightly against the skin, which is equivalent to having an extra face. It's not too tasteless after all. And information. Continue to click on the next one. Immediately, Tao Ran's eyes lit up. Because in the middle of the screen, a line of large characters crossed over. Just like that time after her first kill, it was world news. Player number 444 obtained a total favorability value of more than 10,000 in one level, and was awarded the title of Thousands of Favors. The bold font was shining brightly, making Taoran both happy and speechless. Happily, her hard-working performance paid off in a big way. Sure enough, you can win favor everywhere, work hard on the plot, and devote yourself to it, and you can't go wrong. More than 10,000 points. She's awesome. What is speechless is that she likes to make money in silence. Too ostentatious. Her number 444 once again resounded throughout the tower, inevitably making her secret enemies. Continue to click on the next message, which is a Thousands of Favors gift package. This time there is a world trumpet, a high-level dagger and 10 basic daggers inside. That's okay. When dealing with toads and mosquitoes in this level, she only had one dagger left that she had stocked up earlier. Although these daggers are useless, they don't hurt if they are stabbed casually. Stock up on more and use them as hidden weapons at critical moments. In addition to the trumpet and dagger, there is another set of clothes in the gift bag. It's like underwear. As shown above, attack and defense are optional. Once you choose, your attributes will be permanent. Taoran chose attack without hesitation. Without internal strength, she really doesn't have enough strength. Only when she can fight can she feel safe. After pressing the confirmation button, there was one more piece of clothing in her system backpack. After being worn, the attack power can be increased by 50%. Very good. Taoran took out his clothes and planned to wear this inside tomorrow. In addition to the above-mentioned physical rewards, there is also a bonus reward in the gift package. Thousands of players love me. From now on, the favorability attribute will be increased by 10%, and the luck attribute will be increased by 3%. This bonus made Taoran feel very happy. But the following message made Taoran sit up from his half-lying state again. Congratulations to the player for gaining the appreciation of the hidden male protagonist of this plot line, the prince. Reward. Going crazy. Male protagonist? Male protagonist? The prince is the male protagonist? Taoran has been here for so many days, and the prince is almost always transparent. He doesn't speak as much as the average guest. The presence of the king and queen is more than 100 times stronger than his. Taoran originally thought that he was just a decoration and a supporting role. She thought that the king, who had led all the thorough investigations, and organized the illusion, and the queen, who had led all the banquets and tea parties, were the main NPCs in the plot. Why is there still a hidden male protagonist? So, is there a hidden heroine? The prince is the male protagonist, and his female protagonist. Taoran tried hard to recall the female guests and imagine possible female protagonists. It's over. If there is already a destined heroine, will I become a vicious supporting actress who intervenes? When did the third son who got involved in the official match have a good ending? And what does the system's reward mean? Fortunately, there is an explanation at the end. The game is very flexible and has various choices. The rewards will be distributed later according to the player's choice and the progress of the plot. Will it be distributed later? Taoran suddenly remembered that during the previous game, it seemed that the reward after the queen's favorability reached the upper limit had not been distributed yet. Don't think she forgot. She quickly pulled up the system messages. I found that one and clicked on it. Sure enough, it was still the same as before, showing that rewards are being distributed. Is this distribution process a little too long? How long has it been since I became very fond of you? You didn't expect that someone would gain full favor, so you haven't decided what to give me yet, right? Taoran snorted. Then, she saw another message pop up. The indifferent prince is a special existence in the Pomegranate Kingdom. The king and queen have just such a son, who has always been raised in the palm of their hands. According to the rules of the Pomegranate Kingdom, the prince must get married this year. Many girls wanted to melt the prince's ice-wrapped heart, but the prince was always the same, never willing to open his heart to anyone. The player has gained favor with the prince, and now you will have a chance to unlock the hidden plot. Mission: capture the prince. Accept. Reject. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 862. Taoran moved his fingers back and forth between the two options of accept and reject, but did not choose immediately. She desperately wanted to accept it. In the Dragon Mother level, after she cleared the hidden plot, she brought too many benefits. She thought at that time that she must work hard to open up more hidden plots in the future. But this time, she was repelled from the bottom of her heart. It's not that it's difficult. But there is a prediction that I will probably become the love partner of the male and female protagonist. Just as she doesn't know much about the prince, how much does she know about the overall plot? There may be many hidden secrets in this storyline. So on a moral level she must avoid making mistakes herself. Secondly, the strategy is very troublesome as soon as I hear it. She mostly relies on her own brainpower and strength to complete tasks, and she doesn't like to play strategy games. Otherwise, follow Elizabeth's suggestion and use her charm skills to solve a lot of problems every time. Moreover, love is the most troublesome, and physical contact is inevitable. She didn't want to do any intimate scenes. She was even more repelled from the bottom of her heart. Especially her current body is still her own. Then there is time. If the prince's favor is not 100%, how long will it take for her to be considered a failure? Favorability is too subjective, who can guarantee it? Additionally, she had to consider the consequences of completing the strategy. When the prince falls completely in love with her, what will she do? Can she still stay and be the princess? She could either lie to him or dump him. No matter what she did, it was unethical. She doesn't like it. Not to mention that the queen was very kind to her and had a good impression of her. She had directly hurt the hearts of two people, which was even worse. There is also a very important point. Taoran always feels that there is a pitfall in this mission. The reward owed to her has not been repaid, and the reward for the hidden mission is unclear. How many more floors are there opportunities for? What are the chances? How many more floors are there? The reward is so vague, but the punishment is clear? Why do you feel so eager for her to take the bait, or in other words, do you think it's impossible for her to succeed in the strategy? Taoran performed the heart-cleaning mantra once. I thought for another 10 seconds. Her eyes suddenly opened. She almost forgot about it. She was the first player to reach the 17th floor, and she had been waiting for several days to start the team game. At that time, the system said that she would be compensated. Where is the compensation? What she wasted was time, so she naturally made up for it with time. She always thought that the compensation would be to give her 2 more floors. If she accepts this sudden hidden plot, once she fails, she will have to challenge herself step by step, and the compensation will automatically disappear. This is a good calculation by the system. The consequences of winning or losing this hidden mission are completely unfair. She had an absolute advantage before. According to the normal development, she would most likely be the best. But if she failed, she would still be far behind. A large number of players in the back must be near the 17th floor. Instead of taking such an unreliable gamble, why didn't she secure her number 1 spot? Does she think she is so speculative? Taoran finally chose refuse. A second later, another 4 words popped up on the screen: confirm or reject. He. Never before had she been asked to confirm again and again. Taoran felt more and more that the system was deliberately inducing her to accept the task. How? Was it because she was walking too fast? Do you think her attributes are too high? Seeing that she is leading, you want to stumble her? Taoran pressed confirm again. The player abandons the hidden mission and the mission is closed. After that, the system finally went completely silent, and no new messages popped up for a long time. Only then did Taoran look at his homepage. The assistant showed up again. "Congratulations, sister." As soon as she opened her mouth, the crisp voice was muted. The assistant moved to the corner again. Taoran was very tired now and needed a rest. He really didn't want to listen to people's noisy sales pitches. But after seeing her points, her depression immediately disappeared. At this level, she had worked hard for many days, gained favor, and used her acting skills. After a series of games, her points had reached more than 8,000 points. This score is terrifyingly high. In other words, there are more than 6,000 points, which should be extra points during the game. This proves once again that her strategy of grabbing attention from the beginning was a wise one. Her performance was touching and very recognized. As the captain, she has also been quite successful. It's hard for Taoran not to think too hard. The system is trying to hold her back. Is it because her score came too easily? Don't know about other people? Taoran, who had nothing to do, continued to scroll through the screen. The small speaker on the backpack that displayed the number 45 was dazzling her eyes. This thing is almost like garbage. Why not use it? Give it a try. It's rare that there are 7 friends on this floor. Can we chat with each other using speakers? There may not be a chance in the future. Open the dialog box and use the small speaker. Is anyone here? Come out and chat. What are you doing? I have something to ask you. Say. Zhou Chang. Tiger. Eagle. Xiaoan. Taoran called out one by one. Where are the people? Just as she was about to call out a second time, the grumpy tiger called back. I can't stand it anymore. If you say anything, you will fart. Hurry. The eagle also appeared. Captain, aren't you tired yet? Xiaoan, sister, are you using the single-layer system as a chat group? As soon as these 3 people opened their mouths, Taoran was choked to death. Several others showed up. Xiaoyuan, sister, I only have 3 speakers in total, so I have to save money. I'm afraid I can't accompany you. Is there anything important? George, Captain, are you afraid that you have dozens of speakers just to show off? We are not you. Huang Mao, yes, the reason why I didn't reply was because I wanted to see how many speakers the captain had. Zhou Chang, the system called after a while, which made me nervous. I thought there was another news or task. I was shocked several times. Tiger, isn't that true? I almost fell asleep, but I woke up again due to a fright. Taoran Mo. Who on earth thought this was a chat group? Zhou Chang, what's the matter? I suggest you don't talk about it here. After all, it's a public area. Maybe it's not just us, maybe people who come will be able to see our chat in the future. I agree. I agree. I'm tired and want to sleep. I'll get off first. See you tomorrow. Then, there was a moment of silence and no sound. Taoran. These guys are so unkind. She hurriedly sent her last message, there will be a meeting tomorrow. Then she heard footsteps and knocking on the door outside. Opening the door, the Queen's lady-in-waiting and a group of maids came. They brought a table full of delicious food. There are 30 dresses in a whole hanger. Let Taoran choose a few outfits to wear tomorrow. The maids took 5 boxes of various jewelry for her to match tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, the Queen invites you to have morning tea with the prince. There will be a special female officer to help you dress up. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 863. Taoran's treatment was once again a big step up from before. There are servants guarding the door. If you need anything, just ring the bell next to the bed and someone will come right away. The bedtime meal provided consisted of 10 dishes, all of which were light according to her taste. There are also plenty of soups, desserts, and beauty teas, and doctors and masseurs are also here. She had just sent everyone away when someone else came. The prince's people sent a pleasant-smelling sleeping candle, a bouquet of flowers and a gift. Opening the gift box, there is also a set of jewelry inside. Extremely valuable and exquisite. It is said that the prince personally selected it and used his personal money to buy it as a gift to Princess Ran Ran. Chao Ran knows the goods. Nice one. The base is made of gold, inlaid with cat eyes and diamonds. The design and workmanship are very complex, low-key yet luxurious. It was indeed chosen according to her current personality. In reality, this set of things would cost at least several million or even tens of millions. There is also a card. The prince thanked Princess Ran Ran for saving her life, expressed that this was his heart and hoped that she would accept it. Chao Ran really wanted to accept them, but unfortunately, she couldn't take these props with her. No matter how nice or beautiful they were, it had nothing to do with her. At this time, what Chao Ran didn't expect was another ding from the system. The prince's favor continues to increase, and it is recommended that players activate the hidden plot. Yes or no? Oh, didn't you say it was closed before? How many times have you wanted to start a hidden mission by yourself? The more this happens, the more, no. Chao Ran confirmed again not to open it. She also suddenly became curious. Since the prince is the hidden male protagonist, it is obvious that his main behavior has nothing to do with the main plot. But the system is so eager to lure him into taking the bait. Could it be that the prince's favorability value is related to the main plot? If so, should I continue to favor the prince? If I max it out directly, will plot rewards be unlocked? There are pitfalls in the system, but the plot is definitely going on normally. How to play? Chao Ran was a little undecided. In the end, she decided to talk about it tomorrow, take it one step at a time. Soon, the king's reward also arrived. A token that can pass freely in the palace, a box of gold coins and a small box. The king's female officer said bluntly, "Your Majesty said that these are only part of the reward." Chao Ran thanked him. "Gold coins are useless. I don't know what the token is for." The small box opened, and there was a small bottle inside. Said it was the wizard's compensation. This is a bottle of magical potion with witchcraft power. It is marked on it that it can exorcise evil spirits, avoid harm, and strengthen the body. Chao Ran took out the bottle of potion given to him by the witch at the beginning of the level around his neck and compared it. The two bottles of potion were different. He didn't know if these things could be used. Because he was already very tired, Chao Ran did not meditate this time and fell asleep after eating a few mouthfuls of food. Had a good night's sleep. Since the time was messed up, I slept until I woke up naturally and it was dark. As soon as Chao Ran changed her clothes, someone came to help her do her hair and makeup. She repeatedly emphasized simplicity, but she was still ordered for more than an hour. There is a grand dance tonight. However, the princess has a noble status and cannot be too simple. Finally, she put on a retro European-style hair, hung up a set of eye-catching diamond jewelry, applied a beautiful European makeup, put on gloves and picked up the feather fan. Seeing his new look, which was quite fresh, Chao Ran did not reject it. As an actor, you need to try more new roles. Does it look good? She has a good foundation and is fair-skinned and beautiful. How could she not look good? All the servants nodded. Chao Ran was taken to the queen's private drawing room by the female officer. The queen and prince had arrived and were waiting for her to have breakfast. Both of them were amazed by her makeup and looked satisfied. The prince took the initiative and kissed her, helped her hand to the table, moved the chair for him, and gave her a bouquet of roses still stained with dew. The queen said that the prince had just picked the flower in the garden himself, and it was his heartfelt wish. Tao Ran thanked him. The prince then retired. The queen greeted her with a motherly smile. She really likes Tao Ran, and even asked the chef to prepare the oriental dishes that Tao Ran mentioned during yesterday's chat. See if it suits you. Tao Ran was so grateful. Since entering the survival game, she has either eaten dry biscuits and bread, or steak and chicken steaks. The bowl of potato and beef noodles covered with fried eggs in front of her immediately made her eat. Produced in the palace, although it is not authentic, it tastes good. She ate very quickly and did not deliberately modify her eating appearance, but how could the queen, who had a full favorability score, mind? Instead, she smiled happily and said what she wanted to eat in the future. She left the cooking method to the kitchen and waited for it to be eaten. Tao Ran felt a little regretful that someone who liked him so much was just an NPC. After dinner, the queen said frankly, "The prince is choosing a wife, and I think you are good." Tao Ran thanked the queen for her love. "My child, I am serious. The king and I both like you very much. If our prince has you as his partner, your majesty and I will feel relieved." Tao Ran said that Princess Dongfang's marriage was ordered by her parents and she could not make the decision herself. "Queen, my dear, since your father asked you to represent the country of China and come to the prince's banquet with gifts, isn't your intention obvious? Don't be embarrassed, I understand. If you nod, we will immediately just let people set off to the country of China to propose marriage. You don't have to worry about anything." Tao Ran, "I still have to think about it." She actually thought about it very clearly, so she put this matter off for now. The test of the 18th floor has not yet come out. She can't act rashly until she knows the specific content of the game. Especially after the urging from the system last night, she felt that the matter between her and the prince might involve games. Therefore, she would not explain it authentically. "Don't rush this moment." The queen expressed her understanding, "You should think about it carefully." The queen asked her directly about her impression of Prince John. Tao Ran, "The prince is naturally outstanding." "What's specific?" "The prince and I haven't spoken a few words in total. In fact, we don't know each other very well." "My dear, look, this is also your biggest shining point, honesty. There are so few people who are honest in front of me. My dear, I like you so much." "You are right. Indeed, you get along well. There are too few opportunities, so John will be your dance partner tonight. Until then, you two will get along well." "Wow. The dance partner of the protagonist of the dinner and dance, how will she steal the show tonight with this title?" Tao Ran's first thought was that he might be able to earn a lot of points again. "Do you want to do something? Shining in the audience, overwhelming the crowd? Be unique and different? Wait, according to the original plot, tonight is a dance for the prince to choose his wife, so will the heroine definitely appear? I'm afraid things won't go smoothly tonight." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 864. Tao Ran said that he did not know the court dance of the Pomegranate Kingdom. The queen was even happier. "Don't be afraid, then let John teach you. Let him teach you in advance, right now. This way you will have more time to get along." The queen took heart and immediately asked her female officer to find the prince. Just like that, a quarter of an hour later, Tao Ran and the prince arrived at the small banquet hall. Only 2 people. The prince was even happier after knowing that the queen secretly proposed marriage to Ran Ran, and that Princess Ran Ran not only remained as calm as before, but also needed to consider it. Sure enough, she saw the right person, but she certainly didn't come here for his status. She cared more about her husband than her position as a princess. The prince was in a good mood. While teaching patiently, he rarely broke his habit of being taciturn. I like you very much. So I hope you can consider our affairs carefully. If you have any questions about me, you can ask them now. If you have requests from me, you can also speak out. In addition, I can promise that I will take care of you wholeheartedly in the future. Let you become the happiest princess. Please give me this opportunity. I am very sincere. Chaoran smiled, give me some time, okay. Of course the prince led Chaoran through tonight's opening dance again. Although I just like you now and haven't fallen in love with you yet, but you are so good, we will definitely be in love for a long time. Just like my parents. He was quite honest. Chaoran focused on learning to dance. In addition to the opening dance, the prince also took her to dance 2 other main dances. Afterwards, Chaoran was ready to resign. So fast. I learned. The prince went through all 3 dances with her and was surprised that she learned so quickly. Of course it's fast. With strong mental power, her memory is excellent. Chaoran has good physical coordination, so her brain can remember and her body can naturally keep up. In addition, these dances are somewhat similar to the court dances in her world, so it is not difficult. She did it perfectly. The prince couldn't keep her any longer, so the 2 said goodbye. As soon as Chaoran left, the system beeped again. The prince's favorable impression of the player has exceeded 50%. It is recommended that the player activate the hidden plot and defeat the prince. It turned out that after 3 dances, the prince was more satisfied with Chaoran. Shy and introverted, not utilitarian at all, without purpose, yet so smart. The body is flexible, the posture is graceful, the waist is slender, the manners are decent, and everything is excellent. Even when he looked closer, the prince couldn't find any flaws in her. The prince is crazy about his heart. If he misses this one, he may not be able to find a more perfect girl. Chaoran rejected the system for the 3rd time. The more he tried to persuade her to accept the task, the less she wanted to accept it. After returning to the room, she used the speaker again to find her teammates from yesterday. Where are they all? When asked, everyone was busy with their own affairs, and they were not even on the same floor as her. Only then did she realize that most of the guests were arranged in the side building. After lying down for a while, it was lunchtime again. Chaoran found that today's guests had a better attitude towards him than yesterday. I don't know whether it's because the favorability attribute given by the system has increased, or because everyone was shocked by her performance yesterday, or because they heard the rumors about the prince and her. In short, wherever she appears, she is surrounded by people. In the afternoon, Chaoran, who was almost out of breath, excused herself to go for a walk in the garden, and finally made an appointment with her friends to meet in the garden. She didn't know why, but seeing these people made her feel more at ease. However, they are all bad friends. When these people saw her, they made fun of her and asked her, who was loved by thousands of people, if she wanted to stay and be the princess. Don't forget to treat her to a meal after she becomes the princess. It's a small thing to treat me to a meal, but you have to share the money. Just give me a gift of 2,000 points per person. What a beautiful thought. If I don't give it to you, don't even think about running away. You all stay with me. When the time comes, I will tell the king to keep you 7 as my servants. You will have to follow me wherever I go from now on. This way I will be far away, you won't feel lonely in a foreign country. Chaoran smiled. The 7 people clicked their tongues, I can't afford to offend you, I can't afford to offend you, and then they turned back to their normal form. Chaoran, how many points were you rewarded for successfully passing 17 levels yesterday? The 7 people looked at each other, and then said in unison, 500. Chaoran snorted. Sure enough, everyone got the same score. The system did not compensate her for waiting in vain for many days. and it's already past the 17th floor, so there's no reason why I shouldn't give it away. When Chao Ran glanced over, he saw Zhou Chang's confused eyes and had a bad feeling. Zhou Chang also waited 2 more days before the game started. If there is compensation, he should have it too. When she asked, it was true. Zhou Chang said, I did receive compensation. I gave it yesterday. I was told that I waited for 2 days, so after passing the 20th floor, I can go up to 2 more floors. He can start the challenge from the 29th floor. The system didn't compensate you. Zhou Chang thought that Chao Ran could at least start directly from the 3-letter floor. Chao Ran was angry. In front of several players, the screen opened, and she immediately started looking for the complaint button. 17 levels of compensation, rewards for the queen's favorability and the prince's appreciation. The system already owed her 3 things. The system obviously didn't expect that there would be players exchanging private information, and it took several seconds for feedback to come back. The queen's favorability is closely related to the prince's appreciation, which directly leads to the opportunity for players to open hidden plots, which affects the player's subsequent progress. Therefore, players are asked to wait patiently for the reward results and believe that the game is fair and just. After that, the system ignored me. Chao Ran could only write down these 3 accounts first. She asked everyone about the extra points yesterday, and they didn't hide it from her and told her directly. Among the 7, the most points were added by over 3,000 points. Except for Xiaoan and Huang Mao, who only added over 1,000 points, the others all increased by more than 2,000 points. Therefore, Chao Ran also confirmed that his various efforts were successful. In this case, she must continue as always. After that, everyone talked about the assistant again. Everyone was more or less cheated out of their points, so except for Xiaoan, who was extremely lucky and had already won 2,000 points by playing roulette, everyone else only turned on the assistant occasionally. And the image of everyone's little assistant is also different. For example, Chao Ran's is a little girl, Ying Ying's is a middle-aged man, and Huang Mao's is a beautiful woman. When we talked about the lounges on every 10th floor, several people discovered something was wrong. Tiger bluntly told him that he and his brother had confirmed that it would be okay as long as they didn't go to bed. He sat on the ground to rest for a while last time, and nothing happened. Everyone talked about the supply station again. The 7 people were all dissatisfied with the dragon, saying that they were targeted and made things difficult by the 2 dragons, one big and one small. Chao Ran raised his eyebrows and mentally thanked Dragon Mother Longbao for her help. When asked again about number 266, all 7 said they had never seen it before. After hearing that he had stolen Chao Ran's backpack, several people said they would keep an eye out for her later and find ways to notify her or help her get the backpack back. Okay. As long as I can get it back, I'll share the contents with you. Half of the day on the 18th floor has passed, and the game is still coming. If nothing else, it will definitely be time for the dance. Everyone agreed that if possible, we would try to do the task as a team. Thank you so much for your reward, Brother Long. My book Friend's Tale number is 22,955, baby, I love you so much. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 865. In the afternoon, there was another round of costume changes and makeup, and the dinner dance started at almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The banquet was held in a hall that could accommodate hundreds of people dancing together at the same time. Chao Ran experienced a similar scene last time at the Golden Bull Awards ceremony. The king and queen came out to give a toast, and then the prince and Chao Ran came out to lead the opening dance together. The queen and prince were also worried that she would get stage fright because of the crowd, but it turned out that they were overly worried. Chao Ran simply regarded the dance floor as a stage and used all his strength to increase his points. She dances gracefully and gracefully. Although some of her movements are not standard, they are unique and beautiful. She became the most dazzling girl on the dance floor, and the prince was once again shocked by her talent. He also admired her even more and couldn't help but praise her. Not to mention the guests, everyone knows that this Princess Ran Ran who appeared out of thin air is not simple, she is outstanding in everything, and if nothing unexpected happens, it is very likely that she will be the new princess. After the dance, the prince served her both wine and snacks, being attentive and considerate. The prince's attitude was very clear, and he stayed within 10 steps of her throughout the whole process. Even when greeting people, he always brings her as his dance partner. Inevitably, Ran also received some hostility from the princes and peach blossoms. For example, the prince's cousin comes. "Cousin, do you think I look good today?" The prince only looked at Ran. "It's good looking, but it's not as good as Ran Ran." The little cousin left with red eyes. For example, the count's youngest daughter is here. "Your Highness, let's perform the next waltz together. As you know, I was the queen of the last banquet. Our Ran Ran is the real dance queen, can you imagine?" Ran Ran danced the entire opening dance after only learning it twice. "She is the smartest girl in my eyes." The little girl raised her skirt and immediately resigned. For example, the little princess of Haha Kingdom is here. "Brother John, you promised me the day before yesterday that you would dance with me today." The prince was silent for a second, thinking about how to refuse. Haha country is the largest neighboring country, so it's not easy to offend. Ran saw this in his eyes, flicked his feather fan, and took the initiative to hold the prince's arm. "Today the prince is my dance partner. You must dance with me first. We are all princesses, with equal status, so naturally there is a first come, first served basis. It doesn't matter whether you are the princess of Haha Kingdom or Hehe Kingdom." "Bad guy, she's here." The prince was so happy that he led Ran directly to the dance floor. Ran looked at the prince's expression and knew that his favorable impression of him had increased. How could he not like such a well-informed and virtuous wife? Spinning on the dance floor, she quickly spotted her teammates. After the dance, Ran said he wanted to rest and stepped aside. The prince then went to greet the guests and said he would see her later. Ran used the loudspeaker again, calling all the players on this floor to come to the fourth lounge to talk. She wanted to see if there were any other groups that had passed the 17th floor besides the 8 of them. It turns out, no. Or just them. Afterwards, Ran was inevitably teased again. Everyone already knew that when Huang Mao peeked at Ran for the first time, the scene he saw was exactly the scene where the queen pulled her and wanted to bring her and the prince together. Otherwise, you can stay. As NPCs, drag all the people who come to these floors to help the brothers deal with the competitors. After we finish the tower, we will find a way to go to your world and help you complete your unfulfilled wish. Get out." Ran grabbed Huang Mao. "Why don't you take a look at what I will be doing tomorrow?" Huang Mao really looked at it, and then he was speechless. "I saw, the prince kneeling on one knee in front of you." Everyone asked in unison, "Proposal?" "No, apologize." Everyone was silent. "What's the matter, do you have to kneel down and apologize?" "The queen is also apologizing to you," Huang Mao added. "It's definitely not a good thing. Something must have happened to one of the prince and her. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have asked, it would only increase my worries." Everyone quickly changed the topic, and they also realized the benefits of brushing NPC's favor. Each of them had a bonus in luck yesterday because they gained the king's favor. Number 444 has been hanging around in the palace for many days, so naturally it is much more than the bonus they received. Ran also directly acknowledged this point and allowed them to try the next level. She also told them that the prince was the hidden male protagonist of this level, and she didn't know if the game in this level had anything to do with it. However, everyone here who had locked onto the prince quickly put down their wine glasses. Something is wrong. In the distance, the prince was being introduced to a girl. Then, like the plots of all prince and princess movies, TV shows and fairy tales, the moment the prince and girl's eyes met, there were only two of them left in the world. The prince couldn't move his eyes any longer, and the faint smile that had been maintained on his face turned into a dull look, and he felt stupid for several seconds as if he had been struck by lightning. What about that girl? Her golden hair is tied behind her back, she wears a beautiful crystal crown, a luxurious dress, and exquisite jewelry. Her face was flushed because she looked at the prince, and she was fidgeting with the tassels on her light blue dress because of her nervousness. She was a very cute girl. Taoran had a premonition that this was the heroine. Looking at it like this, the male and female protagonists either fall in love at first sight, or they meet again after a long separation. Although he had known that there would be a female protagonist, it was still difficult for Taoran to avoid it, which was a bit unpleasant. I'm wearing green on my head. If I want to be happy, I'm short-sighted. Sure enough, the next second, the two people walked onto the dance floor. Let's dance together. Zhou Chang, that girl is too petty. Eagle, much worse than Ran. George, the prince is blind. Xiao Yuan, that sister is not as good as you, Sister Ran, in everything. Huang Mao, no wonder Sister Ran doesn't like that boy. Xiaoan, sister, don't be sad. Tiger, tell me, what can brother do for you? Fix men or women? Probably, this is why Taoran feels more at ease with teammates. The friendship of sharing will and woe is always more reliable than those promises made in fine clothes. The two people on the dance floor were affectionate and had only eyes for each other. They were completely destined to be together. Taoran sipped the wine gently and watched calmly. The two people finished dancing and didn't stop. The second song started again. Taoran started to fan the wind. If this were the real world, she would probably have faced the enemy head-on. Fortunately, this is a game world, so she tolerates it. But after all, she represents the East, represents the country of China, and represents the Princess Ran Ran she created. Do you have to hold back this tone? After much thought, she stood up. But as soon as she took a step, she stopped again. The current dance music is more intense, and the female partner must spin around frequently. The moment the girl beside the prince's wide skirt rotated to its highest point, she seemed to see the girl's shoes. Taoran waited, and when the girl spun around again, she confirmed. That's right. The girl is wearing glass slippers. Glass slipper? Taoran could only think of one girl who had never seen her before, a blonde girl who appeared out of the blue and fell in love with the prince at first sight, wearing a blue skirt and glass slippers.